can't be free. Everybody wanna judge, say I'm a thug, I'm a player, I'm a simple, why I can't be me? When I walk up in the store, all the Karens get to staring at me. Put my heart in my music, it's still on my sleeve. Everybody been portrayed.
So fam, what's the word? It's your boy Spiritual Trey, and it is now episode 69 of the Soulful Thoughts Blog. And today we're gonna be talking about preventing and curing grudge energy. Now, before we get started, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. If y'all want to see y'all boy in the algorithm, let's dive right into it. Now, obviously, we all know the harmful effects a grudge can have, right? Like, you having a grudge against somebody is obviously only harming you, right? Because you the only one that's feeling that negative energy. You the one that's allowing that stress to shorten your life. And you the one, depending on how big the grudge is, that got to move around, you know, looking over your shoulder all day, right? If it's actually a grudge that turned into a beef. You know, you the one that's living with the constant daily stress of that, right? You and the other person who might be going through that. So, we all know the harmful effects a grudge can have. Let's dive a little deeper on why we shouldn't want to hold grudges, right? Because in some situations, a person can do something so drastic, we don't give a fuck about how the negative energy is gonna impact our life, right? That person did something so bad, we can hate them without caring about the repercussions, right? It can get to that level. But let me explain to y'all why let me go a little deeper in explaining why holding a grudge is actually a lot more detrimental and binding than you think. Because look, a lot of people think hate separates, right? Like, you would think two people that hate each other is gonna cause division between them, right? And in the physical, it can't. That can't be the case. You know, if you hate a person, you obviously not gonna want to be around them, right? So in the physical, y'all might be separated. But if every time you think of that person, you get triggered, every time they get brought up, you get triggered, or if you actually spending a lot of time throughout your day thinking about that person and what you might want to do to them, are y'all truly separated? Spiritually, anyway. Because, yeah, in a physical, y'all might not be together, but it's quite clear that in the mental realm, y'all around each other all the time, right? Because y'all always thinking about what the other person did to the other person, or what you might want to do to them. Or, you feel me, the fact that y'all have such a subconscious energy towards that other spirit, that when that other spirit comes across your awareness, it throws off your whole vibration within your spirit. If that's what's going on, are y'all truly separated, or are y'all, doesn't that sound like a binding system? You know, if a person can have that big of an effect on your spirit, are y'all truly separated, or are y'all actually more binded than y'all ever was? Because before the hate existed, they weren't on your mind. They were either irrelevant or maybe part of your tribe, you know, or whatever it was. They weren't affecting you to the degree that they are now, right? So if anything, y'all are even more banded. Y'all have caused what we call a soul tie. Sorry, I hear the brain fart. Y'all have what we call a soul tie forming. Y'all souls are tied together. So you might think, let's say you never see that person for the rest of your life, right? Which 9 times out of 10, that's not gonna happen. Y'all gonna run into each other because y'all in the same mental spaces as each other, and y'all gonna start manifesting similar events as each other to the point where y'all both in the same place. It's gonna happen. Why y'all think when people beef, they always end up running across each other to go ahead and fight it out, shoot it out, whatever the case might be? Because y'all in the same space. Especially if you're in the same physical environment, it's gonna be even more easier for y'all to run into each other, right? But let's just say, you know, you go the rest of your life without seeing this person you have a grudge with, right? A grudge against. You might think that when it's over, right? You'll never have to deal with that person again. You free. But let me remind y'all. When you die, if you've been watching this channel enough, you already know this information. When you die, yeah, you're gonna shed from your mind and your body, but you're gonna immediately start to form another mind with the abilities that you learned with the present mind that you have now. So I say that to say this. If you have, let's say you've developed an ability to sustain hate, because that's a real spiritual ability, to be able to sustain hate for long periods of times, right? And let's say you have this certain individual or a group of individual spirits that you have formed up this negative bondage against, that we call a grudge, right? When you die, both of y'all, let's say when both of y'all die, y'all both gonna shed y'all minds and y'all bodies, right? So y'all gonna shed thought systems and, you know, certain memories and shit like that. But like I just said, the abilities y'all attain throughout life is what's gonna dictate the type of mind you create before you go into your next life. So depending on your level of spiritual awareness is going to determine just how much of a binding you form with your grudge, right? Because if your spiritual awareness is very limited, and let's say you spent most of your life focused on the grudge that you have, like let's say you probably were victimized and that victimization has set the tone for your entire life, right? It's the reason for your attitude problem, the reason for you maybe being lazy, not going after what you want, and your whole life was centered around this grudge that you have against a person. The next mind that you create is going to be centered around the ability to sustain hate. So, and that person that you had that grudge against, if they had the grudge, you know, if they were returning that energy back to you, like they had just as much hate for you as you had for them, y'all both are gonna create new minds with that same ability of sustaining hate for opposing minds, right? And because of the fact that y'all spiritual awareness didn't expand, y'all gonna create similar minds to the mind that you had in this current life, right? So, boom, y'all both might be born into new situations, new environments, around new people, right? But I guarantee y'all gonna been to both made similar mindsets from the past life that's gonna end up attracting y'all to each other's spaces. Y'all gonna see the opposing attributes, because remember, opposites attract. Y'all gonna see the opposing views of each other again in that new life, and some situation is gonna happen from that to where y'all have a grudge against each other again. More than likely won't be for the same reason from the past life. Like that person might have victimized you when you were innocent in your past life. The next life, they might end up being a friend that backstabbed you in some type of different way, right? But either way, y'all gonna end up in that same energy of hating each other in the next life, because y'all didn't expand y'all awareness to not let y'all environment affect y'all. So what happened was you created, when you died and shattered your mind, you created a mind that was based off the abilities that were attained in the physical environment that you just died from. So you're gonna create this is why reincarnation happens. You're gonna create a very similar mind, end up in a very similar environment, probably in the same physical location. And you and whoever are the sources of your abilities, like if you have an ability to sustain hate, the spirits that are the sources of you gaining that ability are going to be the spirits that you attract to your spaces in the next lifetime, because you're creating that mind based off the abilities that you attained from, for example, being betrayed by a motherfucker in the past life. You feel me? So I know that was a long explanation, but I can sum it up by saying this. When you hold a grudge to someone, you're creating a soul tie. Y'all will manifest each other into y'all lives again in the next life. And it's going to keep going over and over until y'all end up knowing how to, you know, accept y'all differences and move on and let bygones be bygones without any grudge energy. Y'all gonna have to learn to do that in a lifetime, or y'all gonna forever stay connected and keep on going through these, you know, different lifetimes of running into each other and having negative experiences. So, boom. So if you don't want to actually deal with that person for eternity, it's actually better that you let it go. And this video is to help y'all let it go. You feel me? It's not to be on no kumbaya shit. It's not saying that anybody that did you wrong, I'm trying to get y'all back cool with them. No, because some people, you know, don't deserve a second chance. You feel me? Some people deserve to be dead in your life anyway. I'm not saying that you, not promoting any type of violence, but I'm saying some people deserve to be dead to you. You feel me? To the point where you don't care what they got going on, where they at, what they doing. They're irrelevant. Some people deserve to be irrelevant in your life, right? So I'm going to help y'all make them irrelevant without adding all of the extra energy baggage. Now, let's dive right into it. I've been thinking about this for a couple weeks, right, family? I wanted to cover all angles of grudges. So I came up with 6 ways that a grudge can form. It might be other ways, and if it is, y'all feel free to hop in the comments and let me know. I'll probably do another video. But right now, I've only came up with 6 angles that a grudge can possibly form. 4 of them are preventable, and 2 of them are non-preventable. Let's talk about it. Okay, now the first form of a grudge is unfulfilled expectations. And let's talk about how to prevent unfulfilled expectations from forming into a grudge. The only way to prevent unfulfilled expectations from forming into a grudge is to not place expectations on someone. The only expectations you should place on someone is to be who they are. And you got to know that it takes time to truly know who someone is. So in a way, you can expect surprises. Don't necessarily got to be negative surprises. It can be positive surprises. But you should expect a few surprises from a person when you're getting to know them, right? Right. So this is what you do. In order to feel secure about the connection, you must establish boundaries from day one. Establish your boundaries and your goals for whatever relationship that you're forming, right? So that way, and then just let it be. After you have made your boundaries and your goals known for the relationship, at that point, you let it be. You enjoy the person's company until they cross one of the lines that they told you not to cross. And from that point, you react accordingly. Now, am I saying that you're going to be a robot and not be disappointed? No, that'd be silly. Of course, you're going to be disappointed when someone doesn't, someone that you like doesn't respect the boundary that you put up, right? But you won't take it as personal as when you fully expect a person to respect your boundaries, right? Like the whole goal of this video, y'all, is not to eliminate emotion from the equation. It's to stop y'all from holding on to the emotions and reactionary emotions from these situations. So, like I say, being disappointed is fine. I just don't want y'all to transform that disappointment energy into a grudge. And if you don't place heavy expectations on the person, I guarantee no grudges come from whatever they do to you. You just gonna simply react. If you gotta make them dead to you after that situation, you gonna do that. Okay, now that's preventing the grudge, right? You prevent grudges from expectations by not placing the expectations. Now, let's talk about curing. Let's say you've already went over that edge, right? You placed heavy expectations on somebody, they didn't fulfill those expectations, and now you got a grudge against them. The way that you can cure that is by doing a little shadow work and applying self-accountability if you have to. Because listen, if you do enough shadow work on that situation, I'm pretty sure you will notice it was certain behavior patterns that they were displaying that you should have picked up on, that might have indicated that they might not, live up to the expectations that you placed on them, right? So, and once you do that, you'll be able to show some self-accountability, like, okay, maybe it was my fault for even putting that much of a burden on them in the first place, placing my expectation on them in the first place, you feel me? 9 times out of 10, you're going to come to that conclusion that you shouldn't even went to that extent of placing that expectation on them. And that's going to help you get over the grudge right there. You feel me? So boom, that's number 1, expectations. What's form number 2? What's another way of how grudges can form? Form number 2 is growing apart, resentment, right? Sorry, y'all, I'm wiping off my camera because it was just raining. Now, growing apart. This can form a grudge just off the strength that when you growing up with someone and y'all are so close at one point, and then as y'all get older, y'all start, not letting y'all environment influence the way y'all think as much. Y'all start coming up with more individualistic mindsets. Y'all might start developing minds that differ from each other, right? Especially if one of y'all start growing apart from the environment and the other one is still engulfed into the environment. You feel me? You got you a situation where a lot of resentment might occur because the person that's still lost in the environment might look at the person that's growing from the environment as a person that's switching up on them, right? Or the person that's growing might look at the person who's staying where they at as a person that's stagnant, right? And a person that can hold them down if they stay with them. In a bad way, hold them down in a negative way, hold them back. You feel me? So let's talk about how to prevent this from happening. The way to prevent a grudge from happening is to expect growth. Now, this is where the expectation energy is positive, right? Because listen, you must know that if you're a young person especially, you must know that you and your friend are gonna change throughout time, right? Now, hopefully, y'all grow in the same direction, and it's never no friction. But you have to know that as growing spirits, as growing individuals, growing kids, whatever you might be, there will be a time where you and your friend's mind will start to evolve. And if it does evolve in different, if y'all minds start to evolve in different areas, y'all must hang on to the areas that y'all still share, what's the word I'm looking for? That y'all still share chemistry within, right? So if y'all going apart in certain areas, the key is to, focus on the areas that y'all still share chemistry in, and hopefully, y'all chemistry will grow into other areas so the friendship, can continue to thrive the way that it's been thriving, right? But yeah, so the way to prevent a grudge from, growing apart from somebody is to expect someone to grow and appreciate their growth, even if they're growing in an area that you don't agree with. You feel me? Like, you might be a super religious person. Your friend might be going against religion at the moment. Be proud of them for their growth, though. Just the simple fact that they're strong enough to be in an environment where a thought system is popular and they're willing to stand against it. You should be happy for your friend that they have that type of spiritual strength to even do that, right? You feel me? So always be happy for your friend growth, even if they're not going in the same area that you're going in. And if they're staying stagnant, if you're in a position to where you growing and your friend is staying stagnant, you have to learn that not everybody's journey is going to be as productive as your journey. And that might be all right to them. You feel me? Like, as long as your friend is happy, living the life that they want to live, why are you trying to control their life and get them to go down the path that you went down just because that path is working for you? Don't be selfish, man. Don't be selfish. And that'll prevent a lot of bullshit. Now, let's talk about curing that grudge, right? Let's say you and your friend, you got an old friend that grew apart and some things happened because of the fact that y'all didn't like y'all were growing apart. Some things happened that caused a grudge. You feel me? Like, maybe one of y'all, started hanging out with another group of friends and completely cut the other one off, or just some of that nature. You feel me? Somewhere they, completely separated from you and you weren't prepared for that to happen. The way to get over that grudge is, like I say, if you had love for that person at one point when y'all were both in the same position, you should have love for them when they move on to another position, as long as they didn't do nothing to affect your position. You feel me? As long as they didn't do nothing to hold you back, you feel me, or anything like that, you should be happy for it wherever they end up at. Because remember, life is a journey, man, and not all of us have the same destination. You feel me? So you want to root your friend on with whatever journey they go on, even if they end up going on it without you. I know that's hard for a lot of, humans, but if y'all really have love for the person that y'all claim that y'all so-called had love for, you're going to be happy for them no matter where they end up, even if it's not with you, period. So, boom. Now, angle number 3 in which a grudge can form is passed down hurt. And this can be, we can also call it generational grudges or whatever. It can be some shit where, maybe your family member or your friend got victimized in some type of way. Now you got a grudge against whoever victimized them, right? And with this particular grudge, you cure it the exact same way you prevent it. You just have to have that higher thought and think to yourself, do I want my life to be centered around the events of someone else's life? Am I gonna let the hate from a situation that I wasn't even involved in dictate the energy that's within my spirit? If you don't want that type of life, then preventing and curing number 3 should be very easy. Just let it go, man. Let it go and try to help whoever that's been victimized. Try to help them form a better perception on what happened to them. Instead of trying to get them, instead of helping them live in that perception, try to help them gain a better perception. That's how you actually help your family. You don't help your family by going to add fuel to whatever fire that they in. You feel me? So that's how you handle pass down hurt. Now, what was that? That was angle number 3. I bet we got 3 more. So angle number 4 in which a grudge can form is natural opposition, forced connection. Well, I should have said natural opposing forced connection, right? And this usually happens with younger crowds. Like, let's say you have a group of friends, right? What's the word, my boy? Let's say you got a group of homies, right? And one of them come around with a guy that you never seen, or or a female that you've never kicked it with, but you know they might be they homie, right? And you can see from jump, after a couple hours of hanging with the motherfucker, that y'all think totally different, right? Like, you might be an upstanding individual. This person that your friend brought around might be the type of motherfucker that steal from the store, that kind of rubbed you the wrong way, or, you know, just seem like the type that lie all the time, and, you know, seem like an untrustworthy motherfucker in your eyes, right? In those situations, you've ran across a spirit that naturally opposes you. Y'all have both formed mindsets that are opposite of each other, and that's why y'all rubbing each other the wrong way after only a couple hours of being around each other, right? Now, what happens is, especially with young people, because of the shared connection that you two have, you know, the individual that y'all both share a connection with, y'all will keep on trying to kick it around each other and make that connection work, right? But with y'all being natural opposers, there's no way around it. It's going to be a situation that either splits y'all two apart, or, you know, split y'all two apart in a peaceful way, or it can even split y'all apart in a very, you know, negative way that could form a grudge. Now, the way to prevent this is simple. I'm pretty sure y'all already done came up with that. The way to prevent it is, don't force connections. If you come around a person and y'all not vibing right, I don't give a damn what environment y'all share. Don't try to force that connection. Just let it, you know, just let it be. That's just somebody that I don't fuck with. Just look at it like that. Like, he cool, don't got no problem with it, but I don't got no problem with the bro, but we two totally different people. You feel me? I don't need to be in the same space as him. And you be your own person. Whenever your homie hanging around that individual, you tell them to come around you when they not around that individual, just to prevent any bullshit from popping off. You don't let that person in your house or nothing like that if you getting a bad vibe off them. Now, let's say it has gotten to that point, that person already has done it. How do you cure that grudge? By showing some self-accountability. Because you know damn well you wasn't even supposed to force that connection with that person, right? You should have stood on your 10 toes as a man or a woman and told your friends, I don't like that person. I don't want to be around that person. And I'm pretty sure your friends would have respected that, right? And if not, that's where you separate from them too. But that was just life's little way of teaching you how to stand on your own too. How to unblock your throat chakra. Because anytime you're in a situation where you're supposed to stand up for yourself and you don't, you got a pacified throat chakra that you need to work on. So that's just all. That person that came into your life and fucked you over, you need to be thankful to them, because they're a lesson that was brought into your life. They came and taught you the importance of standing on your instincts, standing on your principles, standing on the vibes you feel, your morals and all of that, and not being afraid to speak up when necessary. So that was a very valuable lesson that person taught you. Once you see the value that they brought in your life by coming into your life and doing what they did, it's gonna help you ease that grudge energy. You might even become thankful for them. And still, they'll be dead to you. You can be thankful for someone and why they dead to you. You feel me? That's the beauty of this shit. Now, that's angle number 4. Angle number 5, and these are the first 4 angles are very preventable, right? These last 2 angles in which a grudge can form are non-preventable in most cases, right? So we're not gonna talk about how to prevent these grudges. We're gonna talk about how to cure them. Now, angle number 5 in which a grudge can form is victimization. Victimization usually happens, you know, when we're at an innocent age or at an innocent point of our life. Someone takes advantage of our innocence for their own gain, right? And the most extreme case of this happening is molestation. You know, someone taking advantage of the innocence of a child and preying on them, right? Let's say this happened to you. Y'all know I don't shy away from these type of topics, man. I done talked about molestation and rape and how to get past those energies so much on the channel. I feel like you could never talk about it enough because so many people went through it. Now, let's say you have been victimized either as a child or as an adult. How do we get past that energy, right? How do we get past that grudge? By allowing it to be a motivation point to not let it defeat us, to not let our life, by not allowing that moment to define us, not allowing that person that tried to take our power away to keep our power. Because best believe, anybody who victimized you, they fed off of whatever negative energy that you gave them, whether it was fear, anger, whatever it was, they fed off that energy, right? They took your power in that moment and they fed off it. You gonna let them do that? Are you gonna let your whole life be sucked out of you in one moment? Or are you the powerful spirit that came on this planet to show everyone that's in that similar space that was victimized as well that we have the power to overcome anything? Are you gonna be that spirit that's powerful enough to do that? That creates a legacy of transforming their traumatic pain into motivation, positive motivation? Instead of living off the hate of that person that victimized you, how about live off the motivation that that person might have victimized you, but they didn't make you a victim? Because just because you got victimized don't mean you got to be a victim, right? You can still overconquer that situation and make that situation your bitch. You can make that situation work for you. Y'all know how many therapists out here done went through traumatic shit that got them to that position to be a therapist? Whatever traumatic thing they went through in their past, they made that situation work for them to the point where they make money off that situation now. They make money off helping people cope with that type of situation. The key to life is not letting your environment affect your spirit. That's how you stop the reincarnation cycle and all that shit. Not letting your physical environment affect your spirit. Now, of course, it's gonna affect it to a certain degree, but when you don't let your environment shape up the type of spirit you are, you the most powerful spirit in this fucking universe. One of. Big ass facts. You feel me? I'm not gonna stay on that too long because I spoke on it a lot on the channel. Now, angle number 6 in which a grudge is formed is betrayal. Now, most of the times, betrayal can't be prevented, right? There's no way that you will know that your closest friend was gonna do some shiesty shit to you unless you were seeing the behavior patterns that led up into that moment. But a lot of the times, even if you are seeing behavior patterns and seeing red flags, it's hard to cut a person off just from some shit that's in your mind, right? Because it is that slight possibility that you could be observing the situation wrong, right? So you kind of want to let situations play out to where, okay, I can kind of sense that this nigga is on some other shit, but I need him to do something to prove it. Like you kind of want to see it in physical before you react to it, right? So a person can't call you crazy. Because if you just cut a person off just off some, some speculation shit, they can always change that narrative around on you and make it look like you switched up on them for no reason. Because they didn't do nothing in the physical to actually warrant that action. So a lot of the times, even if you can prevent it, you probably might not want to because that person gonna change the narrative on you. So you allow yourself to stick around until that person fully betray you, right? Now, let's say that happened to you and you want to get over that grudge of betrayal. I want to make this clear. Again, anyway, when someone betrays you, victimizes you, any of these type of things, you are gonna feel very fucked up about it, all right? There's no other way around it, even if you've seen it coming. So there's no way to avoid the negative emotions. You might have a moment of hate, a moment of sadness, a moment of depression. Be human and allow these energies to flow through you. Don't try to ignore them or prematurely eradicate them. Allow yourself to feel the emotions from these reactions so they can pass by smoothly. after you get to a point to where your emotions aren't fully riled up over the situation, then you can start working on not holding a grudge, okay? You feel me? And that's why it's important whenever you are feeling those emotions to release them. Because if you keep them bottled in, it's gonna take even more time for those emotions to fully pass by, and you will never be able to think clearly on the situation. It's just gonna be a forever grudge there because you're not, you ignoring your emotions. So don't ignore your emotions. Let your emotions flow whenever need be. If you need to cry, let those tears out. There's nothing wrong with it. Now, once you get to a certain point of mental clarity to where you can think clearly on the situation, you get past a grudge the same way you get past victimization. You get past betrayal the same way you get past victimization. Not letting that moment define you, not letting it trick you off your path. Like if you were on your way to a great position in life, keep flowing to that great position. Don't make a pit stop to get revenge. Stay on your journey and don't let no one distract you from your journey. You feel me? And trust me, you're gonna be simultaneously getting revenge and solving that grudge at the same time, because they gonna be seeing you shine and do all the things they wish they could have been doing with you, and you gonna be somewhere not giving a fuck about what they got going on, not caring about if they eating or if they starving. You just making sure your plate full. And at that point, it ain't no reason to hold a grudge, right? Let them be miserable. All right, my apologies, family. I actually forgot one of the steps, one of the angles. So when I said in the beginning that it's 6 angles for which a grudge can form, it's actually 7. Angle number 7 from which a grudge can form is unmet obligations. And usually when it comes to a grudge, obligations not being met are usually shared obligations, right? Like, for example, it could be an example of you and your co-parent. Your co-parent might not be in your children's life. You might have had kids with somebody and they're not in those kids' life, right? They ran from the responsibility. So naturally, you might build up a little grudge against them. Actually, one of the non-preventable ones, so I'm actually glad I forgot it. So, boom. Let's say you have a obligation, shared responsibility with a person that they ran away from. How do you cure that grudge? By instead of running off the hate that you have for that person as motivation, because listen, a lot of single parents, especially the single moms, they use their hate for the other parent as a motivation factor for raising their kids. The reason you don't want to do that is anytime your kids, because that person is a trigger point. Anybody you have a grudge against is a trigger point, period. So anytime your kids are doing something that might remind you of that person, going down the same path of that person or anything like that, you might lash out on them in a very unfair way just because you have this undealt with trauma inside of you, right? So the key is, for one, you got to do some self-accountability, because you attracted that person into your life, right? And you the one that decided to lay in bed and have those responsibilities with that person, right? So you have to go down and do some shadow work. Go down the line of behavior patterns that person might have displayed that might have showed that they might run from that responsibility, and take accountability for ignoring those behavior patterns. That's for one. You feel me? Have some damn self-accountability and know that you made this bed for yourself. Now, number 2, because let me explain one again. Because the reason you want to do that is because it's going to help you not run off the hate of that person. If you understand that you the one that kind of made that bed for yourself, and you take the accountability for that, instead of having so much of a grudge against them, you gonna aim that energy towards yourself a little more. And that negative energy you aim at yourself is gonna cause you to want to and will do better in the future, right? So that's gonna be it's a learning lesson from you that you have to capture. You have to capture the lessons in this situation. Instead of just looking at it like an L, find the real L, which is a lesson, right? Then number 2, you want to use the motivation of being a super parent versus the motivation of being a single parent. And by that I mean, come on, man, you a single parent, single mom, single dad. Whatever outcome of them kid, whatever positive outcome that might come from those kids, you're going to get all the credit for. The good grades, whether they grow up and become rich and famous or they're just a normal functioning citizen. Whatever good comes from that situation, you're gonna get all the credit for it. Everyone is gonna look up to you for stepping up to the plate with no problems, even without a teammate. Take pride in that. You a fucking superhero. You know how many people can't handle raising kids by themselves? That shit not easy. And you doing it. Not saying that it's not hard to you. You have your moments where you might break down just like any other human. But after that breakdown, you fish yourself back up and get up and make them something to eat. You a fucking superhero. And you deserve all the credit in the world. All the adulation in the world. I think that's how you pronounce it. Y'all know what I'm saying. You deserve all the admiration. You wouldn't get none of those energies if you had the other parent there. It's like they put you in position to be looked at as an even greater person. I mean, in a weird way, you should be thankful for that. Now, am I saying that it's good for a child to have one parent? No, hell no. But the key to this life shit is not letting your physical environment affect the way that your spirit operates. You don't let the actions of another spirit dictate the actions and the internals of your spirit. What's going on internally within your spirit. Once again, I'm not saying you can't react negatively to situations, but you do not have to harbor on to that negative energy to sustain separation. Once again, you do not have to harbor on to negative energy to sustain separation. You actually have to let go of negative energy to sustain separation, because of what I explained earlier in the video. You having that grudge is doing nothing but causing a soul tie that's gonna keep y'all connected throughout whatever lives y'all go through. You feel me? So my single mamas out there, single fathers, stop using the hate for the other parent as a motivation tactic, and use self-accountability and the motivation of being a super parent as your sources of energy. Accept the fact that you made that bed, and then take pride in making that bed. Shit, you made that bed pretty damn good by yourself. Take pride in that. It's your boy Spiritual Trey signing out. Love you, family.
On the beat, start preaching. Feel no evil, see no evil but peep it. I don't aim for the stars, I want leeches. And a snake spawn, I'ma kill the whole species. Rest in peace to all the peaceful preaching. The youngest wildin', but they say they evil, that's kinda reaching. Who really controlling the way you thinking? Find the truth.